Well, can you expand a little bit more on the confusion or the unpreparedness of the APC, like you've mentioned? There's people who would argue that it is the PDP that is unprepared because of the squabbles within the party. Like you've also accepted that not all fences have been mended. So can you expand a little bit more why you feel it's the APC that is unprepared?
That the APC is ill-prepared. I mean, I don't think it's any rocket science to decipher that. First and foremost, don't forget that the APC too is messing one problem or the other. I mean, we had the issue of the presidential running mate. Of course, that was a major problem, which led to Dogara and Co. Practically exiting the party. They have that much criticism of the choice of Shetima. Then, apart from that, the APC, it took them how long for them to even unveil their vice presidential candidate? You can imagine there was this sort of confusion and so on. It was full of uncertainty, and eventually Shetima was unveiled, which even festered the situation. Then we now talk of the postponement of the presidential campaign council inauguration, which was built for today. So it is quite obvious. One can rightly say that the APC is yet to put its act together for the forthcoming presidential campaign. So I don't think I need any further excuse. These issues I've just said obviously need for any further proof that the APC is not ready. As we speak, its presidential candidate that ought to inaugurate the council is far away in London or wherever for some medical reason. I mean, it's beyond its control. We are not going to blame him for falling sick. Nobody wants to fall sick. But truth be told, that is not the case. And without him, probably they cannot inaugurate, because it's going to send a very wrong signal out. That because don't forget that his health has been a major issue, and so if the elders say that Tinubu could not attend because of his health matters, it's going to send a wrong signal out. So these are the issues, and I can tell you without any equivocation that the APC definitely is not ready for the forthcoming general election. But for now, it's not prepared.
All right, let's talk about the chances of the PDP. Now, this is the point where lots of alliances are being made. Yesterday, the Afenifere had come out to explicitly throw their weight behind Peter Obi. We also saw that Emeka Ihedioha came on the fire yesterday because he said anyone who votes Peter Obi is a saboteur. And of course, there were lots of criticism about him because many people dug out photos of when Peter Obi stood with him in 2019 at the time when his mandate was taken from him in quotes. What are your thoughts on these alliances that are being made, these statements, and how they would impact the chances of the PDP?
Well, the political hospitals have started, and it's expected that, don't forget first and foremost that politics is all about interest. Yes, yesterday probably Peter Obi was with Emeka Ihedioha, and today they started with, for some political interest, more vested interest. Most times when they form these alliances, it's not because they love Nigeria or because they love Nigerians, it's because they see it as a vehicle that will help them bring their various dreams to fruition. That's why they form this alliance. So I believe that Nigerians are not going to be deluded by the fact that they are forming alliances to better the lot of Nigerians. That's the fact lie. That's not true. But having said this, probably don't forget that Emeka Ihedioha probably is thinking of contesting again for the governorship of Imo State, probably. Is it Imo? Yeah, it's Imo State. So, and voting for Peter Obi probably will mean criticizing the PDP. It could be interpreted by a lot of people to say, yesterday you're saying you supported the Labour Party candidate, and today you're saying we should vote for you on the platform of the People's Democratic Party. So probably these are probably calculations. It's just a conjecture. I'm not saying that's the case. So I think that just is calculations. How can I? And that's why I keep telling Nigerians that we should not conform to what the norms are. We should rather be transformed by renewed values. A situation where, yes, I can support an APC candidate for House of Reps, I can support the PDP candidate for Senate, I can support a YPP candidate for governorship, and so we should look at the integrity of the candidates and not necessarily the party. Because talking of the party, that is the base of our political system. That is why we are where we are today. This imbecilic rulership, Mr. A belongs to his political party. They produce a goat as the governorship candidate. Because we are party members, we must support that goat. And eventually, when that goat comes on board and reigns maladministration, bad governance, ineptitude, and malfeasance, then we start to complain. And don't forget that the goat probably would have amassed so much wealth. There's nothing you can do. You just sit back at home and complain. And after you complain for 2 days, because you're hungry, you now go back to worship that very goat, and you also behave like the goat. And that is why we are where we are today. So I think that is the mistake in making the first. It is against the electoral law. I mean, it is wrong because it is so stated. You cannot call somebody a saboteur for his political beliefs and convictions. It is clearly stated in our electoral act. So that is wrong. But I know that the INEC will do nothing about it. I can tell you that. But the truth about it is that I urge Nigerians to dismiss that rhetoric. I mean, it is also very sad that it's coming from a man like Iyorchia Ayu. Very, very sad. Because you attain a particular status in height and certain things are expected of you. So you cannot say, it's a very strong word, it's quite insidious. It's quite insidious. I remember the Ogoni crisis where people said these certain persons were vultures. And you can imagine what it snowballs into. Loss of lives and so on. And today Ogoni is yet to come out of that mess. So it is very wrong to say somebody is a saboteur for having a political conviction. Very wrong. But I don't think Nigerians would take that as take that seriously. They know that in Nigeria, our leaders make all kinds of inane comments and comments that probably they don't really mean, but they believe that for that moment, it's expedient to say so. So, P2B, that will not in any way also going to affect P2B's pollership. Never at all, I can tell you that. You see, right now, even if you say Atiku is the greatest mumu in this world, those that want to vote for Atiku will vote for him. If it's Atiku is the wisest man in this world, those that don't want to vote for him will not vote for him. Minds are made up. At least, let me say 90% of the voters, those who will actually go out to vote, their minds are made up on who to vote for. Now, if these candidates come out and they have that convincing power, then if they probably 70% wanted to vote for them, they might be able to add another 10. But I don't think it's going to be more than that 10. I'm just hypothetically, that's what I'm saying. Able to add another 10. Or probably the person they were supporting misbehaved within this period. They might say, oh, God forbid, I never knew this person had this kind of character. I am now going to vote for this one. Otherwise, the minds are made up on who to vote for. Even as you are there in the studio, you are not going to say it on that, but you already know who your candidates are. That is the truth about it.
All right, Ms. Ngutara, I'm guessing that there will be even more drama unfolding as the campaigns fully get underway. But of course, we would always love to bring you in. Let me quickly say this, Osa. Let's go ahead. The so-called, the orchestrated rumblings in the PDP will definitely not have anything to do with this campaign because the party has moved on, like I said. And I can assure you that a lot of these persons that are now saying, you must go, I can tell you that 95% of them will retreat. Look at what Otom did. Although it's coming on to deny, the CTS will have issued that without a supreme assault.
I mean, you've made your projections. You've made your projections. In another few days, we certainly will have you back to see how well these projections have fared. Unfortunately, we'll run out of time. Thank you very much, for your time this morning.
Thank you.
All right, still speaking on politics, the Presidential Campaign Council for the All Progressives Congress has postponed the commencement of its campaigns scheduled for today. Now, this was disclosed by the Director General of the Tinubu-Shettima Presidential Campaign Council and Governor of Plateau State, Simon Lalong, in a statement yesterday.
In a statement, Lalong explained that the adjustment of the timetable was a result of the move to expand the campaign council list to accommodate more stakeholders. He said that a new date for the kickoff of the campaign will be made public soon. We'll, of course, be following up on this and bring you updates on News Central.
Now, moving over to Uganda, President Yoweri Museveni, of course, will be addressing, we mentioned this earlier, so please make sure that you stick around by 8 p.m. He'll be addressing nationwide, the radio and the TV, talking about what the plans are as regards Ebola.
Absolutely.
Now, let's take you through what's still to come. We've had a very full conversation so far, but we're not quite done this morning on Breakfast Central. Of course, I'm really glad that we're going to be having some entertainment. Sam Dandy will be joining us to look at that. I hear that Shakira is having some tax fraud problems. I really don't know how that's going to turn out. She seems quite confident, but I'm sure that Sam Dandy will be bringing us all the behind the scenes.
But we're not done with the political conversations. Remember, it is officially campaign season, and it starts today. APC, PDP, LP, and the NNPP will, of course, get on the streets and on the media waves to try to sell their candidates. The Labour Party say the party has put in place a straightforward campaign structure, and of course, I'm guessing the other parties will say pretty much the same thing. Of course, from the Labour Party to the APC, how straightforward will their campaign structure be? How powerful will their campaign structure be? The party's National Publicity Secretary, Arabambi Abayomi, of course, while speaking, says that the structure was made up of the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress and all the 774 local government areas, including all their affiliates. The generality of the suffering masses of Nigeria also included here, who have been shortchanged and decimated economically. Our obedient political movement members all across the nation also included, and also members in all the wards, local governments across the 36 states and the federal capital territory.
These and more have been said by the party as the campaigns officially begin today. We're going to be looking into this. We have joining us this morning Ahmed Ngene, who is a public affairs analyst. He'll be discussing more on the Obedient Rally and the campaign plans. Good morning and thank you for joining us. Can you please unmute your video? And whilst that's going on, let's talk about the statement by the Labour Party's Publicity Secretary, Arabambi Abayomi. He mentioned that the campaigns for Labour Party are continuous and very unbroken. Not even the large-scale, top-notch national rallies in the states and the national capital will reduce the party's focus and energy. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how prepared would you say is the Labour Party to face the big boys? Or would you say the Labour Party are, in fact, the big boys? Would like you to please unmute. You don't seem to have unmuted your device yet. So can you please unmute whilst you answer the question?
Or might be better if you disconnect the AirPods, and speak to us directly through your device, so we can get sound from you.
And then, whilst that is going on, it's important to note that the Labour Party, to talk about the meteoric rise of the Labour Party, it was almost this party that everyone was confused as to if they would actually be the third force. There was conversations about, can the Labour Party be the third force? And now we're seeing that the Labour Party has in fact become a major name in Nigeria's political space, especially as we inch up towards 2023 elections. Do we have you, Ahmed?
It's also pretty interesting to see how this has grown, right from when, I remember I did see it yesterday or the day before. The person who they have claimed as, is the first obedient is the person who had tweeted at Peter Obi months ago, maybe early in the year or so, telling him to join. Says you join a small party that we will campaign for you, according to him. I don't know if I remember exactly the words of the tweet, but he said join a small party, we will campaign for you. Do not join any of these big parties. Well, I won't mention names, but he was simply saying you want to run under this person, better join a small party. We will campaign for you and we will support you, 100%. And added, something will punish you at the end. But that was the first obedience, and at first, exactly, but it really just tells the passion that a lot of these persons have had over time, and of course, in the build up to the elections, it's been very, very, very powerful. Seeing these numbers grow, and each time that you hear any political figurehead, blast them on social media or on television, it seems like the energy is tripled, the next time that they go on a rally. And what I'm looking forward to seeing is if, now that the campaigns have started, they will keep up the same energy, or the numbers will maybe even increase, and the conversations will increase with regards to the Labour Party. They have moved from being just one of those small political parties to becoming, yes, one of those that are strongly in contention. And every conversation now, you hear them being mentioned as a leading, candidate.
One of the things that's quite shocking is how a lot of the conversations surrounding the Labour Party were, can you translate internet votes to real life? A lot of Peter Obi supporters were said to be online supporters. But we've seen from the several marches that are happening, not just in Nigeria, but outside the country, several of these marches have proved or enforcing the fact that the Peter Obi movement is actually one to look out for, is one that's gaining ground. Of course, made up of a lot of young people and people who seem to want something different. But we're interesting. I mean, yesterday, just as we're speaking with Opunabo and we're talking about what Emeka Ihedioha had said, Emeka Ihedioha had said that there would be an Igbo president after Atiku. And it'll be interesting to find out how the Labour Party feel about this. Basically, you know, a lot of them feel like this is somebody that we supported in his own time, and now it's his turn. He's of course speaking against us, but it just reminds us that with politics, there are no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, just interests that are being looked out for.